Hi, we're Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Canucks.
Welcome to Banter on Board, our new podcast. This podcast is recorded every Sunday afternoon if you want to join us live on YouTube.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Live. Good Sunday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Today I am rocking the Crown Royal apple flavor with a single large square cube today. Yeah.
You didn't pull out your crown glasses though.
I didn't.
Did you?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, everybody. Ooh, what's it go? It's straight today. There's no mix in that thing. So I'll be making a few of these faces as we're talking.
You have a little water with it?
Ooh, a little bit of that. That's all we have with it.
Are you like a walking commercial for them?
No. I told them how much I drink and they still don't want to be involved with me. Maybe I drink too much of it. They're already getting my money. Oh, so today we're going to touch on some strategies with weather for cruising and vacationing in general. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. We have a few other things to talk about. We also booked another cruise.
We did.
We're not ready to announce the details yet, but we are very excited. Super excited, beyond excited. So
there you go.
I want to just tell you all about it right now. But we're working on the details. So we might even turn the whole theme of that cruise into a live itself in the next couple of weeks here. Is the plan. And what do we have next? Oh, trivia time. Oh, your favorite. So
I'm so bad at trivia. I need Paul sitting next to me when you do these trivia questions to me.
This is kind of like a multiple choice, but not really. There's more than one answer here.
Okay.
So here we go with the trivia.
You're going to have to read it. I can't see it. It's too
What
tiny.
items here that are listed below are not allowed on a cruise ship? So the options I've given you, which one of these aren't allowed on a cruise ship? So hair straighteners, Speedos, drones, homemade cookies, Bluetooth speakers, skateboards, and fishnet stockings. What can you not bring on a cruise ship?
Can I pick the ones I think that shouldn't be allowed? Oh, hair straighteners are allowed. I have had a few people ask me that. So yeah, ladies, you're allowed to bring your hair straighteners. Speakers, I don't believe that they're not they're allowed. Drones. Well,
I have a comment about the drone one, so we'll come back to it.
Okay. Homemade cookies. You're ridiculous. Bluetooth speakers. Oh, what's the difference? Speedos. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Speedos. Yeah, Speedos should be banned in my opinion. Yeah. And what was the last one? Skateboards.
I'm watching all the comments come in. So yeah.
Drones and skateboards is coming in.
Yeah, we've got drones, skateboards, drones.
Fishnet stockings should be banned too, in my opinion.
No comment.
No comment.
And we've got Bruce and Tawny with cookie. And skateboards, homemade cookies, no Speedos. Serene Life says drones, skateboards. So I'll go one by one through.
Drone can be brought along, but not used on Carnival.
This is now the Bruce and Tawny show.
Sorry.
They're stealing my answers. Speedos are optional on Ada.
Speedos are optional.
If you're watching the live chat, you know what we're talking about. It's coming in. I can't click fast enough to put them on the screen.
Oh, man.
Oh, so I'll go through one by each.
Okay, go for it.
Hair straighteners are allowed.
Yes.
Speedos
allowed.
Unfortunately allowed. Yes, unless I was 21 again. Then it wouldn't be a problem. Drones. So a lot of people answered drones.
Yeah.
Bruce and Tawny are bang on. And it was just an announcement that was made this week about drones. So it used to be you weren't allowed to even bring the drone on the ship. Banned, you can't get on it. They caught it in the x-ray machine. Drones not allowed. On most cruise ships, there was a couple exceptions. Carnival this week, and I believe Royal Caribbean just announced a change in policy that you can bring your drone on to use when you're at a destination, but it has to be locked up with their head of security. And you're only allowed to get the drone back when you are at port and you're getting off the ship. They can give you the drone and then you have to check it back in when you get back on the ship.
You sort of sign it in and out throughout your voyage.
Yeah, which I thought, great. Then I thought, we live in the world of vlogging and batteries and cameras. I'm like, well, how do you make sure your drone's charged up to go to port if it's locked away in some office somewhere? So I don't know if we can charge external batteries with drones or how that works for people. That's what I'm wondering. So
there you go.
May have to start shopping for drones.
Great.
It's great footage from drones, right? More technology.
360 does it just fine.
So drones, after drones is homemade cookies. What do you think?
Well,
a couple of people said no.
I'm thinking it's fine, but I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Nope.
Really?
You cannot bring homemade cookies.
Why?
It doesn't say specifically
Oh,
homemade
maybe
cookies.
because they're thinking things are baked in it,
You
like
can't.
drugs or
Yeah,
something.
you can't bring any pre-made food or unpackaged food on board the ship.
Okay,
So I can bring wine gums on if they're in a package. I can't bring homemade wine gums on. That's the difference.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah, that's to prevent people cooking
Something
in their cookies or brownies
or
or
brownies.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now.
So
Yeah.
homemade cookies would not be allowed. Mm-hmm.
I've definitely gone on board with like cookies from whatever hotel or something they're staying at. Like, was it Hampton Inn that used to give you free cookies when you would check in and that? And there's been a few times that they've been in my backpack or something.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
So hadn't been caught, I guess.
Bluetooth speakers are allowed. A lot of times you'll see wording now saying that they're allowed for personal use in your stateroom.
Okay.
But we have seen people abuse that policy. Last February on Princess, we saw people with them at the pool decks, pretty loud and kind of interrupting other people's space, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So they're becoming more of an issue. I would be surprised to see rules more about that coming out in the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one? Skateboards are not allowed.
That makes sense.
So skateboards.
What about those wheelie shoes? that
Wheelie
kids
shoes.
have?
Wheelie shoes not allowed.
Really? It says that?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And those segways, what are they called?
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
They're not allowed. They're pretty big. But those wheelie shoes, when they first came out, we were on Carnival cruises years ago. I do remember
There were kids all with them
kids
on, for
kids
sure.
had them, but those are banned now.
Okay.
And fishnet stockings. What do you think?
Oh, gosh. Yes, they're allowed.
They're allowed. Good thing. There you go. So that's the trivia for today. A lot of you got it right.
Mm-hmm.
We have, I'm just watching some of the comments about this, and Kylie has jumped in here. They have a funny,
I love it, Kylie.
is it PG? Can I put it on the
Yeah,
screen?
you can put it on.
Let me see if I can find the comment from Kylie that just came up here. There we go. Says, we have very funny name for Speedos. Can you say this?
No. Let people read it on their own and move on.
Move on.
I'm not saying it.
Why not? Oh.
No fishing allowed from the balcony, Bruce is telling us.
Well, it's a different type of fishnet, Bruce. Sometimes comes with suspenders.
Oh, my.
The show just continues to spiral out of control.
Yeah, you have really brought us somewhere today, haven't you?
Oh,
Quite the question.
we'll calm it down with comments and questions of the week.
Okay.
Cue noise. We should have a noise that happens there.
So now you need
next week.
extra sound effects.
Okay, the first comment or question of the week was from Jean Dean. She said,
Oh, I love this one.
you want to read it then?
No,
or-
I can't see it clear enough to read it, but I know
It
what's
says,
coming.
great vlog. Jill, when we saw you buying a purse, Scott says, which we're assuming is
Her husband.
her husband,
Uh-huh.
he says, you two could never go shopping together. So,
And the funny part about that is that they will be joining us on our group cruise, and I have a girls' shopping trip planned on one of our port afternoons. So I think we will be going shopping, Scott. That's why I liked it so much, because literally I read that and I thought, oh, maybe he's not going to be happy about the agenda in Antigua. Yeah.
all the guys are going to go out and fly drones.
Oh, shocking.
And next comment or question was from Mike Manu, I think. I can't see the letters are small for me even. Yeah.
Mm.
How did you like the inside cabin? So we did 22 days on Janet Princess Inside Cabin. Really great video. Enjoy all your videos. Enlightening. Thank you. It was this comment.
So I will say, did you want to talk?
Nope.
Okay. I was going to say, I would say we've done quite a few interior cabins now on different cruise lines, from Norwegian, Holland America, Princess, Carnival. Am I missing? Anyways, it's probably the most spacious inside cabin we've ever had.
Yeah.
For sure.
I-
So we loved it.
Yeah, I didn't notice any difference from any other cabin. Like, obviously I couldn't see outside, but as far as space and usability and comfort and location was fantastic.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a great home base to go back. We would get ready to go out for the evening, as you've seen. We have our clothes there. We get showered up. We can sleep. We really didn't spend much time just sitting around. We did the odd time. We watched
Yeah, we watched some movies
We watched
on our sea days.
Love Boat. We watched.
Mm.
And we watched a couple educational talks too that we missed in the main theater. They would put them on the TV. So we did spend a little bit of time in there.
We did.
And we slept an awful lot. So we spent more time than usual just because we were sleeping in
Mhm.
because the sun doesn't get in to wake up.
Yeah. No, we absolutely loved it. I felt very comfortable. I mean, we were a little hesitant because of the length of the journey when we booked it, 22 days interior. Will that get old after day 10 or something? But it really didn't. We didn't find that it was a hardship at all. And obviously I love their closet space because we travel with a lot of clothes and now a lot of gear also, but there is enough closet space, cupboards, drawers, shelves, that everything had its place that lived there for 22 days. So you weren't like stepping over things or stuffing your way. So we are very happy with the interior cabinet on the Enchanted Princess.
Yeah, I see just a comment that just came in from Sweden, from Serene. No? Or that's a different person.
Yeah.
Maybe not from Sweden, but Serene Light says, we appreciate showing you showing how spacious it was and everything was organized, that we didn't need any magnet hooks or anything hanging up anywhere because there was lots of space.
You're not reading it properly.
I read it wrong.
Didn't see any magnetic hooks or hanging organizers either. So we didn't have to bring any. We did have, I do often travel with a few magnetic hooks, but we didn't need to. There were some hooks permanently behind the door in the storage area, and so we were able to use those. So yeah, it was very easy to keep it organized.
Lots and lots of room in the classic Princess walk-in closet style of cabins, which they won't have on the Sun Princess. So
yeah, so we'll be telling you what we think about that because we will be sailing on her later in the year, near the end of the year. So yeah, it'll be the first time without a walk-in closet on Princess for us.
Yeah,
so.
Hopefully we don't have to find someone with a suite to store some of the dresses in. Yes.
That's funny.
But you finally got it, did you?
Took me a while.
Took a second. Christine says, I don't like the way the stone lounges are in the same room. I think she means the spa room.
Oh, yeah. So the latest vlog that we just released, we spent the day in the spa, and they have those stone lounges, heated lounge chairs that are lovely. We enjoy them. But you're right. In the style of this ship, a lot of cruise spas, they have the stone chairs in a separate room, sort of like, for instance, when we were on the conning stam, they were in a room with a window where you could see the ocean, and it was more relaxing, and you didn't hear the noise of the jets going in the hot tub or people talking in the hot tub. So yeah, I agree with you. We had a very lovely day there, but we were very lucky because for the majority of the day, it was just us there. I mean, there were a few people that came and went, but it was very quiet the day that we were there. We were kind of surprised how quiet it was for a sea day. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and that's been a trend for me lately for some reason. I like, we've been on Carnival with their spa, their whole thermal suite, whatever they call it, and I've enjoyed the stone loungers overlooking the ocean or the port or wherever you happen to be, and it's separate from the area where there might be hot tubs and
the
saunas and showers and so yeah, I really enjoyed that. The last few that I've been on, Princess, I believe Norwegian was that way. What ship were we on? No, MSC. Which one?
MSC. It was all in.
Yeah, we had MSC as well, and yeah, you get that mess of the hot tub splashing around, and you're trying to relax at the same time, and there's someone having a shower, and it's echoey and noisy. So yeah, it kind of takes away from the serenity that you're kind of looking for. So yeah, so I would kind of agree with Christine about that. Yeah. So, would you like to take a few questions first, or talk about weather?
Let's take questions.
Take a few questions and we'll come back.
Because if you get him talking about weather, guys, you might be here till midnight.
Yes. Not true. I have self-control. About some things.
Not about booking cruises.
Batman had the question, right? Okay, there it is there. I'm not sure if I can find it on your side.
Don't worry about it. You just read it.
I just read the question. What do you think? Oh, I guess I should read the first part. With cruises getting more expensive in 2024, with the cost of living going up, what do you think the cruise lines will do? Is the question.
It's definitely getting more expensive. And we were, just sort of having this discussion ourselves and saying, what we budgeted for cruises per day to get on a cruise has definitely increased. Yet our income has not increased to match it. So it is getting more expensive. Agree with you 100% with that. And I don't know,
I know right now, I don't see the cruise lines doing anything, only because they are selling out. Travel is booming. Everything is booking, whether it's flights and hotels and cruise ships and all-inclusive destinations. We had friends that were trying to book an all-inclusive, and they waited 4 or 5 days, and it was booked solid. This is a monsters resort. It was booked for the day, but it had been available a week before. So that's how much as things are booking. So it seems if you don't book it, don't guarantee you're going to get a last-minute deal anymore. We kind of talked about that, I think, the last week or two. But so yes, so in other words, I don't think the cruise lines will do anything. If anything, it gives them kind of the opportunity to raise prices. If people are going to keep selling it out, they can just keep on raising them, which isn't good news for us, I know. But if I'm running a cruise line,
but I agree. Until we start seeing that ships are only sailing at 70% capacity, I don't think we're going to see the cruise deals that a lot of us are used to being able to grab and that sort of thing. So yeah, we've sort of had to retrain our thought and try to talk a little bit about budget and that sort of thing, because it is definitely gone up.
Yep. And Bo has a question, which is right there for you.
Question: do you do your entire weather forecast in advance, or do you do one day while cruising?
What do you do?
I do nothing.
So it depends what stage of the booking of cruises we're at and traveling we're at. If we're booking a cruise in months ahead, then we're looking at kind of different weather patterns for that time of year for the destination. We'll talk more about that in a little bit when we get into the pure weather stuff. But when we're on the ship, we don't just look at the forecast before we leave and not look at it again. We literally look at it day by day, and even sometimes hour by hour if it's on the edge of whether or not something can be done. And we're going to talk a lot about the details and strategies and how we do that when we're on a cruise ship. In just a little bit after we do the questions. So kind of hang in there a little bit. We'll give you more detail to what we just kind of mentioned there.
Okay.
And we have a question from Nikki, is it?
Question: Morella's an all-inclusive. Are there any other cruise lines that are all-inclusive? And what cruise line did you find the most expensive on board?
I think expensive on board.
Okay. Let's see. Any others that are all-inclusive? We've never been on one that's all-inclusive.
Well, kind of Morello was kind of, it was a set fee and you had the drink package, everything included.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is the other ones, you get the choice to put on the drink package and sort of make it an all-inclusive. Norwegian's starting to head towards that a little bit, but sometimes you can get it without having to have the all-inclusive part of it.
I think you need to move beyond those type of cruise lines to get that experience. You need to book into stuff like, I believe, like the Seabourn and all the ultra luxury lines. Some of those are entirely, everything is in there. They have excursions available, the drink package, the tips are included. It's an all-inclusive. Yeah. That's the only place you're going to see a pure all-inclusive, where even the specialty dinings are all included. If you want that experience where there's like no extra charges for anything, then you have to go to the ultra luxury is what I'm saying.
With the exception of Morella. We were very impressed with the Morella sort of all-included package.
Well, even Morella doesn't have excursions included. There's specialty dining you can pay extra for.
No,
right?
But they do have a basic drink package included.
Yeah, most cruise lines have something they can simulate an all-inclusive with drinks and stuff. But for a book and everything in the world is included on the ship, that's kind of the ultra luxury line.
Yeah, true enough.
I believe. If I'm wrong, then definitely correct me if you know differently. But that's our understanding. Yeah.
All right. Heather has a question.
Does she? Okay.
Yeah, right there. The piazza didn't seem to be too loud from your cabin. Was that true? I will say it wasn't too loud all day long, but if we went to bed before midnight, so from around 10:30 to midnight, it was pretty loud under our bed. Under our head, you could hear like the bass of the musicians going and that sort of thing. It sort of kept me awake the first night that we went to bed. We went to bed one night at 10:30ish, and it was probably around midnight before all of a sudden I realized, oh, they're done. It's gone for the night, and it was fine. Then after that, I didn't really notice it, but I did notice it the first couple of nights.
Yeah, well, there definitely was noise. You could hear it if something was happening in the atrium. Sorry, the piazza. Then you could definitely hear the music in our cabin. I couldn't really figure out though whether it was actually coming through the floor because we were right on top of it, or if it was actually just coming up the stairway and kind of out in the hallway. It was kind of a mix of both, I think, is what we were getting. So because we were pretty close to the stairs, we were 2 or 3 cabins away from
2 cabins away.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of both, I think. But yeah.
Maybe.
But definitely, if you were looking for a cabin that had actually no noise, then it definitely wasn't that.
That wasn't the right deck for you.
Yeah. But it was only when there was something going on down there, and it had to be usually a band or something like that going on that you heard.
Yeah, I think it was like the live band was the only time that we noticed it.
Yep. Scott says, ha. That must be what Sun Princess and the suite, I think. And Twyla wants to know if the Princess interior was bigger than Holland America's inside.
I will say it had more walking around room. Obviously, we didn't have a couch, so you had to give up the couch to have more space to feel like you can move. I would say when we were in like the Holland America interior room, I would be like throwing clothes over the bed to where Jerry was on the other side of the cabin, because it was a little bit more crammed in when we were both trying to get ready in the evening, where we didn't feel like that with Princess. So, you know, the biggest thing with the difference in comparison is if I'm doing my hair at the makeup table on the Holland America room, or compared to the Princess one, there was lots of room for Jerry to walk around me. Whereas with the Holland America one, I had to get up and push in the little stool area for him to make his way to the bathroom or the closet. I didn't have to do that with Princess. So it was more usable space to function to get ready. But square footage, I don't know. But again, we did not have a couch on the Princess. So it's nice to have the couch. And that's why we booked that style of room in the past.
Agreed. Esther says, do you find the whole day too long on the spa?
Yes, I think so. If you do the whole day, and we didn't do the whole day, but we did do like 2 hours in the morning. And I think we only did maybe an hour, hour and a half in the afternoon. And then we decided we wanted some fresh air and go outside. So yeah, I mean, I think if you can pay for a half a day in the spa, that's all you would want at a time. Personally, myself. But, you know, we've also gone on cruises where we've paid for the spa the whole week and we've used it more than other times. The last time we paid for the spa the whole week, we were traveling with Paul and Carol and some friends. So I felt like we didn't use it near as much. But if it's just the two of us going, we'll tend to use the spa a little bit more. So if you're going with friends, you might not use it as often if you're going with a group of people than if it's just you and your spouse.
What I think, and this is specifically for all of you cruise line presidents and CEOs that are watching today.
God. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we're watching you.
I think that the problem with the spa and spending all day there is you're missing some of what you enjoy on the rest of the ship. So you don't have access to bar staff coming by and asking, would you like a cool drink when you're sitting in the spa? Yeah. You don't have
a bar there.
You can't walk up and get something from a little steam table or something like some meatballs to nibble on or something.
Oh, God.
So like that type of stuff would enhance the spa experience in my experience.
Oh, yeah.
Like some people might just want carrot sticks, but yeah. So I'm thinking that, you know, if they added that into it, because we had to leave the spa to go to the, where did we go? We had the buffet. I think we had something. You know, we went into the Salty Dog, and we had some lunch. Then we came back to the spa again, and then we wanted to see some sunlight, so we had to leave and go. So yeah, the perfect spa you can see outside. The stone loungers are separated from the hot tub in the water areas. There's a bar somewhere for us to get drinks, and a steam table with some little snacks.
Okay.
Perfect spa experience at that point. There's my answer.
What can I say to that?
And Serenity has a comment about O'Malley's.
Okay. Very interesting in O'Malley's quality selection, hours of food bar.
Yep. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. No comment?
No,
yeah, no, O'Malley's was really interesting. I liked the concept. I liked the food was good pub food. The atmosphere was phenomenal. The entertainment singers were fantastic. I think we're kind of the only downside, a couple little downsides, but nothing big, was venue too small.
Way too small.
Need to be bigger. And the other thing was I tried ordering a bunch of mocktails. We always get questions about that, and I didn't want to be drinking as much. So I ordered a couple of mocktails, and I was surprised that I think I tried several. In fact, one day I was there, I ordered like 2 or 3 in a row, and they kept coming back saying, we don't have the ingredients. We don't have the ingredients.
We don't have that.
And like there's only like 5 or 6 on the menu, and over half of them they couldn't even make for me. So I finally gave up ordering the mocktails. So
you had a diet pop.
Yeah, so they do have a large selection of mocktails. I just couldn't get them to make them. So it's unusual for a new venue to be out of supplies for something.
Yeah, we're not sure if that was just a one-day thing, a one-issue thing. But yeah, no, it's a lovely concept. It's really nice. We just wish it was a little bit bigger because it's very difficult to get a seat. So you have to sort of use strategies to figure out when you want to get there and get there way earlier than what you think you want to eat or anything like that in order to get a table.
Yeah, very challenging.
Took us multiple times to get a table.
For those on the group cruise, you're going to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to send a couple people from the group. They're going to go and they're going to hold it. We're just going to flood the venue and fill it all up with all the people, all the Cruising Canucks people?
Well, I don't even think we have 62 people booked to go with us on the group cruise, and I'm pretty sure you couldn't. Well, I know we count it when we were there, and I think it only holds around 40-ish people. So there's no way that like even our whole group would not fit in there.
We'll squeeze in. There's some people be up dancing, so
Okay.
be lots of room.
Yeah. No, it's a tiny venue, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And do you see this comment?
No. I agree with your perfect spa.
There it is. The perfect spa. They can even call it that. You can use that, CEOs, if you're watching, the perfect spa. There's a good name too.
Perfect spa.
I didn't want free passes if you use my idea though.
Oh gosh.
Oh, so let's jump over and talk a little about weather, because I know you've been dying to do that.
Dying to.
So when it comes to weather, and these are some tips that we use this stuff all the time, and it really works out. People always say to us, you're so lucky when you go on a trip or a flight or a cruise and you never have problems with weather. I don't think a lot of it's luck. I think a lot of it is by design and how we kind of schedule it. Would you agree?
Well, a lot of it is lessons learned over years of traveling too, for sure. And it's pretty convenient, guys. As much as I complain about him talking about the weather all the time, it is pretty convenient to have a walking weatherman with you when you're trying to go somewhere, because he's been pretty right on with saying, well, we can go to shore today, for instance, but we need to be back on the ship by 1:30 because it's going to start pouring. And then like we're back on the ship and by 1:45, it's pouring rain. So that's helpful. But anyways, continue.
And they want to know, how do you do that though? Okay. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Tell them.
But we'll get to that point. That's the last phase, is when you're on the ship, right?
Okay.
The first phase is when you're booking a cruise. You can get rid of a lot of problems by booking at the right time of year for certain destinations.
Oh, for sure.
Like if you book Alaska in like October, November, or like April, May, you could have some crazy, crazy weather.
Yeah.
And you're going to kind of be in the mix of that risk. You might get a great week or two.
You might be lucky.
But odds are you won't. And we kind of went through that in the Mediterranean. We booked October, November, and a lot of people said, oh, the weather's turning. It kind of turns into a rainy season, a little stormy sometimes in the Mediterranean. And sure enough, we saw that. But it wasn't the whole time. So we had to put up with some days like that, but not weeks like that.
Yeah, and it was okay because it was a 22-day. So it's all right that, you know, we had 4 days of sea. But can you imagine if it was only a 7-day and we had 4 days at sea or something? Like that wouldn't have been so nice. So
yeah. And of course, when you're cruising in the Caribbean, you need to know when hurricane season is. I know it technically has a beginning and end date, but our rule of thumb is, you know, if we start going anywhere from the beginning of August straight through till October timeframe, that's kind of, we're looking at hurricane season, and we might not get to the port. So what we do is, if we book a late August cruise out of Florida in hurricane season, we both look at each other and say, okay, we like the ship. We just want to go on a cruise, but we know that it might not get to the ports because a hurricane might divert us somewhere else.
Which has happened to us.
Yeah, so you just need to going in. Don't go on that bucket list cruise to a destination you've been dying to go to in hurricane season in the Caribbean, because you might not get there and be disappointed. So
exactly.
So we know that going in. And the same thing when it comes to that kind of September through to almost December period along the east coast of the U.S. there. That there's some people recently that found out you might be booked on a cruise that goes to Bermuda, and you might go to Canada, or you may go somewhere else altogether different. And again, that's the climatology of that area. You kind of run those risks when you book at certain times of year.
Right.
So you kind of just know that going in, right?
That's why they're cheaper than those times of year. Yeah. So you know, it's kind of hard for us because we're always looking for a cruise deal, but you realize that sometimes you see those cruise deals because it's like, what's the likelihood we're going to get to those locations?
Yeah, exactly. So just know going in that you may get a more discounted rate, but sometimes there's a weather-related reason. That's the case. So we kind of book based on knowing what kind of cruise we want. We want to just be on the ship and don't care where we go, or do we want to actually go somewhere specific? If we're going somewhere specific, we're going to make sure our weather is going to be typically good that time of year. It can rain any day of the year, of course, anywhere. But of course, you know, there's odds are in hurricane season, those type of things, it's more likely, right? Your itchy nose. The other thing is, you know, when you're trying to get to a port and embark, or you're having ports canceled, that type of stuff, our experience is you have no control of that at all. There's nothing you can do. If it happens to be a day that a storm hits a town that you're leaving from, or there happens to be an event, waves, wind at a port that it gets canceled, we found no good strategy to say, here's what you do to avoid that. That's just, you're just a victim to circumstance, and that's just the way it goes. So we really have no good advice for port cancellations and how to book a cruise. Kind of the same thing follows through from what we just said about booking the cruise to begin with. Just don't book in the bad time of year if that's your concern. And the last thing is kind of the more tactical stuff that some of you might want to know a little bit more about. And you hear us talk about it all the time on the vlogs. We're talking about, okay, we got off early because we knew the weather was coming at this time, or you're going to see in Santorini that we went at a certain time and then we left deliberately at a certain time knowing weather was coming in. Because sometimes weather develops and happens so fast that you can't react to it unless you have a plan in place. And that's what we do, even when we were in Rome. So the way we do that, and this sounds like a really simple one, especially if you have an iPhone, but from experience in the weather business, I'll tell you that the forecast model used for the iPhones, the native app that's just built into the phone, is fantastic. It updates hourly at least. And so a lot of times when I'm on the cruise, that's all I'm doing is I've got our location into the iPhone. I'm checking the forecast every hour in the hour. You can go and see what the hourly forecast is for wind speeds and chance of rain. And we use that when we're on the cruise. So
Definitely.
So don't just check it like the day before and think, oh, I think we're good tomorrow, because the weather, literally the forecast can change hour by hour. So check it in the morning when you're getting off. I guess it means you have to kind of have the internet, because that's the only way we can check it is by having the internet.
Right.
And we don't trust the forecast in the little, or the things that come from the cruise line that tell you the weather's going to be tomorrow, what it says on the TV screen for the weather, they are very unreliable.
Usually they're very much off.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do is we use the weather app on our phone, specifically the iPhone for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we can plan our day that way. And we've been using that. And in Rome, the forecast was within an hour or two of being right when the rain started. We were able to be on the train and leaving when it rained. In Santorini, we knew that conditions were going to develop, that it'd be very hard for the ship to even be there or get tenders back and everything else. And you'll see in the video coming up that we actually timed it out really well, that most people that day on the ship did not get to have a good day at Santorini. We did, because we kind of outsmarted the weather. So use your weather app, check it often. And
sometimes that means Mr. Canucks getting you to go to bed at 6:30 in the morning on your vacation, because he knows that we're going to get rain later in the day or bad wind or whatever the case. But that's what happened in that scenario. Was I think it was 6:15, and he's like, if you think you want to go to shore today, we need to get up and get ready and get on the first tender, because otherwise I'm pretty sure the winds are going to be so bad it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say there was one day that we got caught in the weather. We knew there was a risk, and that was when we were in Naples.
Naples, yeah.
We were at the big, huge mall, and we came out, and we thought we'd had enough time to get back to the ship, and it just started to pour.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you want to know, what do you do then? Well, we had internet. We had a SIM card that we used in Europe, so we had internet. And I just simply went on to the public website for weather in Italy, and I managed to find a radar image, the weather radar looks on TV. And I was able to see where the rain was coming across towards Naples. And then we actually timed it out. We thought, okay, it's pouring rain. There's going to be a gap in it. We need to go when the gap comes to town, because there's more rain coming behind it. That's how we did it there. So
yeah, we were trying to decide where we're going to keep exploring or where we're going to call it a day and get back to the ship. So that's where it's important to know, is this a 15-minute rainstorm and we can just wait it out, or is this going to happen for 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
So that was the importance of having the app for that.
Yeah, and experience pays off. We know, we've been to Roatan enough times now that it's rained almost every time we've been Roatan.
At some point.
But it's never ruined our day, because it'll rain for like 20 minutes like crazy, and it'll be done. And the sunshine will be out before and after. So the last time we were in Roatan, and we did the sloth adventure.
Yeah, for our daughter's wedding, we went and did the sloth adventure, and then we went back on the ship to get our swimsuits and go off, and we could see the dark clouds coming. And Jerry said to the whole group, he's like, I think we're going to have a nice leisurely lunch, because if we leave in the next 10 or 15 minutes, we'll get caught in the storm. So we went up to the buffet, stayed there for around an hour and a half, had drinks and lunch with everybody, watched the rain come down, and then we left. And it was beautiful. And we had most of the beach to ourselves, because a lot of people had run back on board by that point.
Yeah, we literally sat there up by the buffet, the windows looking out. We could see people going off the ship, getting drenched. Like when the first 20 feet of getting off the ship, it was coming down that hard. And just shaking our heads saying, what? If they waited 20 minutes, they'd be able to walk off in the sunshine. Like, why get off? Well, they didn't have to. But yeah, so those coming on a group cruise, you're going to get free weather consulting while you're there. So
don't hold them to it.
We're going to know all about the weather on the group cruise.
Weather consulting while drinking Crown Royal. I guess not Crown Royal, because it's Princess. They don't have it anymore. So Canadian Club.
So, but that's the weather advice. Book the cruise at the right time of year if itineraries are important to you. Otherwise, be prepared.
The bigger part about weather advice too for us is a lesson we've learned is we never travel in the winter months from Canada, because we're in Canada and we never know what it's going to be like when you're booking a trip. We don't do it now with just like same day or one day. We're booking. So for our upcoming group cruise, we're flying into Florida 2 days before. And that has saved us on multiple occasions. When we were trying to get to Puerto Rico a few years ago with our children, we got checked checked in, we got to the airport, everything looked like it was on time. And a half an hour before the flight was supposed to land to pick us up and take us there, we found out that they were having weather. It was fine in Toronto, but they were having weather wherever this flight was coming from, somewhere in the States. And so it never happened. And so anyways, long story short, we ended up spending an extra night in Toronto, but it was okay because we still had one extra day to get to, can't even think of it now, Puerto Rico without missing our cruise ship, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fun, but you deal with it.
Yeah, that's a whole other level of complications, almost a whole other video on booking and strategies getting to the port. Because that's, you can be literally, there's sites to be able to watch planes and when they're on a time, if they're going to be late, and even get ahead of the information coming from the airline. Sometimes there's opportunities to do that, but yeah, but that's a whole other part of how the weather can complicate your problem getting there, especially for us. So yeah, that's a good one for sure. So yeah, that's the weather strategies. But if you have any questions about that, then definitely throw them in the chat section afterwards, and we'll follow up if you have any questions about how to do that or what that's all about. So we're going to call it there.
We are.
But thanks for joining us today, everybody. This is always one of the highlights of the week for us, is
It
talking
is.
with all of you and a lot of the regulars that check in and keep up to date with your travel plans.
For sure.
And we will be back again next Sunday. Hopefully it's warmer for some of you that are in the deep freeze. Hopefully you don't send the cold our way.
I'm just going to answer Paul's question.
Oh, sure.
We did stay for the whole Clock Tower show in Messina, and it was fabulous. If you're in Messina, highly recommend that you see it, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had any questions we didn't get to or you didn't get a chance, join us next week. We'll be here doing the same thing all over again.
We will. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye, everyone.